And you're very welcome to Wexford Park. I'm joined here by Murt, Kehoe and Frank Devereux, and we are going to be bringing you the senior final here from County Wexford, the Pettit SuperValu senior final between St Anne's and St Martin's. And thanks very much to Murt, Kehoe for stepping up on commentary duty here. We have had a few technical problems here so far this morning, so I'm quite happy to give the microphone to Murt and Frank while I take control of camera and replays and all that kind of thing. So lads, I'll just leave it to ye. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, John, it's going to be a fantastic game. Two really good sides. Both sides probably at different paths to the final. I know both sides were in the same group with Fern, so Frank would have seen him first hand this year. Frank, what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I hope it's going to be a good game. It was a long time ago now since we played the Anns. It was back in the April month. They're definitely a different outfit now at this stage. Even at that game now, we barely got over the line against, we need a couple of late points to get the win there, but we could see that there was the makings of a team in there. They're really dogged, really worked hard for themselves. The Martins then, we played them a bit later on the year. We got a draw with them in the group stage when they maybe had one eye elsewhere. They were already guaranteed to be through and stuff. And then we came up against them obviously in the semi-final, and look, we weren't that happy with how we played in that game, but the Martins were the better team on the day, definitely, and they were well worth the 4-point win in the end that it was. So the Martins have kind of come into this always as favourites, and rightfully so with the talent that they have. The Anns are coming in as underdogs yet again, which they seem to relish. So it's going to be an interesting game. You say two very different paths, but both teams will be exactly where they want to be now at this stage.
Yeah, like Frank, like you said, this is where everyone wants to be. It's 9 months of hard work. Both sides are actually getting ready for the parade there now, so it's 9 months hard work that goes into this. So you've seen it this year with Ferns first hand. So could I call on a prediction?
Look, I think a lot of it depends on the Martins. If they turn up and play the way they're capable of, I think they'll pull through. I think I know what we're going to get with the Anns. They work really hard. There's some really good players there. From the Martins, they have a lot of individual talent. Rory's out by the looks of things, suspended. He didn't succeed in getting overturned, which is a huge loss. But if there's one team can kind of cope with the loss of a lad like that, it'd be the Martins. They've such a strong bench there, even to come off that. It's just next man up for them. Every day they seem to have one or two players that are able to win the match for them. You'd be looking for another 2 or 3 of those to step up again today. Like against us in the semi-final, it was Joe Coleman's day. Last year they knocked us out in the quarter-final, and it was Jack O'Connor done us. So they always have big players that are able to step up, whereas the Anns are maybe looking for a more team performance. Everyone chipping in.
Yeah, they've a serious set of depth there when you look at that team sheet there, Frank. Like Ben Maddock, he's Hurling County underage. You've Darren Codd, Kyle Furman, Owen O'Leary. You've to take into account they're probably missing Paddy Kelly there now as well. He is their co-captain with Willie Dev, and they're also missing Barry O'Connor. Barry's gone to Australia, he's gone to play AFL, so we wish him the best of luck out there. We don't know who is in for Rory just yet. We'll see it now in the parade.
Yeah, I'd like to wish Barry the best of luck as well there. I worked with him back when he was a minor hurler, and he's really, real talent, very athletic, very good at the football as well there, but best luck to him out there, a real gent, and wish him nothing but the best out there. Paddy Kelly as well, it's a big loss. He mightn't have the same name as some of the lads on that Martins team, but co-captain, is a big influence on the team, and he will be a loss.
Looks like Darren Codd is in instead of Rory. Rory misses this game through suspension. He didn't get that appeal overturned, so he didn't. So we're just going to go through the two teams here now, and Frank, I'll leave you to do the honours there.
Yes, we'll start with the Anns there. In goal, Paul Brennan. Number 2, Porrick O'Keefe. 3, Tomas Cullen. 4, Kenny Clooney. Half back line of Kevin Whelan, Aaron Craig and Michael Fogarty. Midfield then D. O'Keefe and Aidan Rochford. Half forward line, Liam Rochford, Mark Furlong and Liam Og McGovern. Dara Furlong, Red Barry and Jonathan Fogarty make up the full forward line. Then on the Martin side, Luke White's in the goal. Conor Furman, Joe O'Connor and Mark Maloney in the full back line. Dottie Waters at 5, Willie Devereux captain today at 6, Patrick O'Connor 7. Aaron Maddock and Harry O'Connor middle of the field. Then half forward line, Joe Coleman, Jack O'Connor and Jake Furman. And then full forward line, Kieran Ling, Darren Codd and Mikey Coleman. As always with the Martins, they seem to line up slightly different every day, so we'll have to wait and see what way they actually line out. But it'll be interesting to see that. A lot of movement in that forward line to take up several different positions. So I'd say the Ans maybe will have a man marking role for their backs on them and follow them across the pitch.
As you said there, Frank, the Ans will probably do man marking on a couple of fellas, but the Martins are going to have to man mark Liam Og and Dio straight from the off today. We've seen the damage they did against the Raps. They really did dismantle them.
Yeah, look at you, read down to that, and there's some serious talent there. You know, a lot of legs well able to take their scores as well. They're going to need marking, you know, and the Ans will be looking for those match winners. As you mentioned about the Raps game there, they've done really well on them. You know, they just completely outfought the Raps and had the quality then to take the goal chances when they came, and that was the difference between it. You know, if you consider their paths, the Ans, after the April club month, you would have never conceived of them being in the final, but momentum is really funny thing. And the last 2 weeks they would have been buzzing down in train, you know, haven't got this far. Nobody gave them a chance against the Shells, nobody gave them a chance against the Raps, and they've overturned the odds each time. So, you know, it'll be a great camp to be involved with for these last 2 weeks, because they'll go out there now believing they can beat anyone, you know. It'll be a local kind of derby as such as well, you know, so there'll be no love lost between the teams. So I expect a really tight game there now. If you had to ask me, possibly I think the Martins will have too much. I think they might have too many match winners there, but I think the Ans will definitely give it a really good rattle.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go with you on that one now, I'd tell you the truth. I think the Martins will have too much. They've too much talent, but hurling is a funny game, Frank. Anything can happen, and especially on county final day.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like you even see the final last year, you know, the Martins were at this stage going around the parade as well. There was Gorey on the other side of it. Again, everyone thought that Martins would have too much for them, and Gorey were the much better team on the day, you know. So the Ans will be looking to take a bit of insight from that and a bit of courage from it, you know, and go down the same route.
Just a big hello to Michael O'Keefe, or Micheál O'Keefe, brother of Dee O'Keefe, who I know is going to be watching this game deferred out in Australia. He, one of many of the diaspora from Wexford who will be watching us today on our deferred coverage abroad, and we certainly hope that you enjoy the coverage.
Parade just drawing to an end here now in Wexford Park. It's fantastic atmosphere here today, Frank, isn't it? I don't think I've seen the park as full in a while, and the conditions are just scintillating for hurling.
Yeah, definitely for a club match anyway, you know, the open stand there now with a day like this is really full, and I just look at the stand here, it's you know, getting packed at this stage too. The wind is not as strong as it usually is down here in the park. It seems to be kind of swirling a little bit. If we look across at the flags on the far side there, you know, there's not much happening with them, so I don't think it'll be any huge advantage in one half or the other, but so hopefully it's great conditions for a game of hurling, you know.
The sides have broke anyway here in the park.
You see there, top scores from play this year. Jack O'Connor is the only one really here in contention at the minute. That's near the top. Has 17 points in the matches so far. Conor Mack is still on top with 20, you know, so Jack will look for maybe the 4 points from play to sneak that, you know. It's turned into a bit of a prestigious award this year, so Conor Mack having gone out in the quarter final, you know, he'll be looking to hold on to that, but Jacko seems to be the only one that's in contention here at the minute for that one.
Yeah, Jacko, the Martins really do depend on him though, don't they? They really do. He's a phenomenal player. And speaking actually of Mac is actually running the Dublin Marathon today. So he is. So we're going to stand here now for a moment of silence.
Sean Norman, who died earlier this year. Sean served as county secretary from 1985 to 1993, all in an era where there was no email, so Sean had a certain amount of writing to do every night after fixtures and after county board meetings. We send our deep sympathy to his wife Geraldine, his son John and daughter Jeanette are here with us today, and we send them our deepest sympathy as well. And we also think of all the other GA personnel who died throughout the year. We send our condolences to the family and friends of those. Nisha Parja around the being, which this afternoon will be sung by Ciara Breen from the Bala Mihi Club.
Referee Dan Crosby throws in the ball. Aidan Rashford is onto it. Willie Dev. Willie sends it into the corner to Jake Furman. First opportunity of the day. Jake Furman with the first score. Martins are up by 1 point. No score. 17 seconds gone. Paul Brennan restarts with a poke out. He sends it long. It's coming down here on top of Liam Hogan. Willie Dev. Big Joe Coleman with the fetch. Hands it to Willie Dev. Willie sends it long in towards the St. Anne's full back line, and number 2 Park O'Keefe came out with. But again, Joe Coleman wins the breaking ball. His influence has already been saying very early, Frank.
Yeah, he's a great man under high ball there, and he's after getting a break too, you know. So with only a minute on the clock here now, he's had 2 possessions already, so they'll be looking for Joe to have another big game again today.
It's a line ball there to St. Anne's. Dermot O'Keefe has gone over to take. It's a fantastic cut from D. O'Keefe. right in on top of Aaron Maddock and Jonathan Fogarty there. Aaron Maddock with the loose ball. He comes out of the Martins half back line and he sends it in towards Mikey Coleman. Mikey is there in pursuit. Park O'Keefe. Mikey Coleman gets the ball. Mikey Coleman on the 14. Mikey out to Darren Codd, who's in today. Darren is blocked, so he is. Kieran Ling on the loose ball. I think that could be wide. That is wide from Kieran Ling. An early opportunity for Kieran to get the name on the score sheet, but he just put it wide. Paul Brennan with another long poke out down on top of Liam Rochford. St. Anne's captain, tightly marked by Patrick O'Connor. Patrick with the hook in. He gives it to Aaron Craig, the Westmeath man. He sends it in long towards Redmond Barry. Aidan Rochford is onto that there. Now Red Barry has a chance. He's on the 21. Red Barry saved by Luke White. It's a free in. Referee Dan Crosby is giving the free in for the foul on Red Barry. Frank, what do you reckon?
Yeah, first chance for the Ans there really, and maybe even a sniff of a goal, so maybe the sense a bit of vulnerability in the Martins full back line there. Probably a half chance of a goal, but will take the free at this early stage. Martin seemed to start it very well there, hit their stride, and the two chances, took one of them, but this should level it up here now, so both teams will be relatively happy with the start.
It's been a very positive start here in Wexford Park. D. O'Keefe is standing over this free for St. Anne's, while Joe O'Connor is down receiving treatment from the St. Martin's physio Phil Jeffers. D. O'Keefe duly obliges with the free. Joe is still being seen to by the medical staff. Luke White restarts the game. A long poke out down on top of Joe Coleman again. Jake Furman is onto the loose ball. Aaron Craig making his presence felt. Ball is played down to Dara Furlong. He overruns it. Picked up by Dottie Waters, ever present in the St. Martin's side. To Aaron Maddock. Darren Codd now gets on the loose ball. He spots the run of Kieran Ling. Kieran Ling, he's running at his man. His man doesn't have a hurl. Kieran should pick this over. He's going. Oh, it's a blatant pull down there by number 4, Kenny Clooney from the Ans. Frank, cynical. The goal was on. Is there an option for GA to bring in something like the black card there for hurling?
Yeah, it's been talked about, and maybe that's one of the examples where it would have worked. You know, some people say it's good play by the Ans man. You know, it's probably a goal chance there. He let him through. He'd no hurl, so he'd no other option really other than let him go. He has the yellow card there now, we see, which is very early to get a booking on that. But the Martins forward seem to be having a yard or two of space here now early on, so the Ans will be looking to tighten up, because if there's one team you don't want to give space to, it's the Martins.
Surely not, and they do relish this ground here. Joe Coleman stands over this. Joe Coleman is ever present, and he's so consistent over frees, and you're near enough guaranteed a point every time he strikes. A fantastic strike, and Joe adds that one. We have the Martins are 2 points to 1 up here with 5 minutes gone. Paul Brennan restarts. Down towards Mark Furlong. Loose ball picked up again by Jake Furman. Jake's actually left it behind him. Mark Furlong has. He sends it long in towards Dara Furlong. Dara's just out in front of Mark Maloney. He's turned Mark Maloney. He's ball in his hand. The goal is on. Red Barry is. Great save, Luke White. Great save, Luke. Red Barry, you nearly put the house on scoring there, Frank.
Yeah, look, again, they worked it well into that forward line there. It was Dara Furlong beat his man to it, and they worked the goal again. They seem to be sensing a bit of vulnerability in that Martins full back line, and that's twice now they've maybe had a sniff of a goal chance, you know. It was a great save there by Luke White, though, to keep it out.
Yeah, the diagonal ball across from Mark Furlong towards there, and he played in red, and it was just very unlucky not to end up in the net. D. O'Keefe stands over the result in 65. Dio just puts that wide.
A lost child here, Michael O'Sullivan from Enniscorthy. His dad James is nearby. Please call to the press box.
Luke White restarts, goes long, down into space just in front of Mikey Coleman. Aaron Craig gets there and cuts off the ball. Mark Furlong sends it towards Red Barry. Great tussle there between himself and Joe O'Connor. Jonathan Fogarty wins the loose ball, and he comes out towards the Martin's 45. He turns, sends it back across the field towards Dara Furlong. He's in hot pursuit of Mark Maloney. Mark Maloney gets it up and away towards Joe O'Connor, who sends it long down towards Kieran Ling is coming towards him, but Aaron Craig is there. Aaron is left behind him. It's sent back long in towards the Martin 65. Harry O'Connor on the loose ball. Harry O'Connor made up ferociously there by Liam McGovern. Willie Davis pulled to the floor by Liam McGovern. I would have given that a free out now, Frank. But the referee Dan Cosby has awarded a free in, and D. O'Keefe will take.
Yeah, I suppose it just goes to show how difficult a decision or a game it is for the ref. I would have actually thought he charged for it there, maybe looking for contact. Either way, he's giving it there now, I think. For referees, they have a tough role these days, you know. Split second to make the decisions, but I would have actually agreed with him on that one.
We'll agree to disagree on that one, so D. O'Keefe stands over the free. Missed the last 65, so he'll be hoping to make amends here. Probably Wexford's cert to be an all-star this year, Frank. What do you reckon?
Oh, definitely. I think he should be in with a great shout for it. You know, he's absolutely outstanding this year for Davy's side.
D. O'Keefe adds the point, and it's back level game, 2 points apiece. 8 minutes gone here in Wexford Park. Puck out from Luke White is intercepted by Liam McGovern. Liam gets the head down. He's going for the score. And wide, just wide from Liam McGovern. Another man probably unlucky not to be nominated for an all-star, Frank.
Yeah, look, a class act there now. He's had his injury problems and he's come back really, really strong for it, you know. Excellent addition here again for the Wexford this year.
Jack O'Connor on the ball. Jack O'Connor. Jack strikes. Jack's hoping for his first score of the day, and Jack has got his first score of the day. Jack O'Connor. 3 points to the Martins, 2 points to St. Anne's. Poke out from Paul Brennan. Liam Rochford is the target. Paddy O'Connor bats it away. Harry O'Connor picks up. He finds Dottie Waters with the hand pass. Dottie blocked down by Mark Furlong. Plays a low ball towards Aidan Rochford. Aidan steps away from the shoulder of Jake Furman. Back to Mark Furlong. Dottie Waters wins the scraps. He has the advantage from referee Dan Crosby, and now he has the free out. Willie Dev drives it along, down towards the on-running Kieran Ling. Kieran knocks it out in front of himself. He done well there, trying to get the hand. Liam Rochford on the ball. Liam Rochford on stand side here. Great ball, unlucky. Joe O'Connor picks up the scraps and sends it to Dottie Waters. He looks to launch it deep into the Ann's half. It's batted away, and Jake Furman picks that up. Jake plays a diagonal ball to Mikey Coleman. He's marshalled well by Pádraig O'Keefe. The two cornerbacks there, Ken Clooney and Pádraig O'Keefe, teaming up well. Mikey Fogarty with the long clearance. It's a bit of a ruck there. Joe O'Connor kicking it out any means possible. Mark Furlong on the ball. He's on a lot of ball in the first half here, especially in the first 11 minutes. Joe Coleman in with a great dispossession. Mark Maloney with the clearance towards Dottie Waters. I don't know if he meant that. Long ball in towards Mikey Coleman. Mikey Coleman with his first score today. Great score by Mikey.
Yeah, really good play by the Martins there. Their full back line never panic on it. Always try to work a ball out to a half back line, and then both teams seems to be looking for that diagonal ball. So really, really good play there.
Paul Brennan for St. Anne's with the puck out. Down towards Jake Furman, and Jake Furman actually ends up with that ball. Small man, but he's come out with that ball. To Joe Coleman, blocked. Joe Coleman, Big Joe. Big Joe shrugs off the tackle. Is this Joe Coleman's first score from play today? It is. Big Joe Coleman. The Martins have a 3-point lead here early into the first half. Again, Liam Rashford's the target of the puck out. Ken Clooney drives it in towards Red Barry. Red Barry plays it very well for himself. He's just losing out in a foot race with Joe O'Connor there. Dottie Waters gets to it. He's dispossessed by Liam Rashford. Dara Furlong is on the ball here. Dara Furlong with the score. Dara brings it back to a 2-point game.
Yeah, great play there again. After getting blocked down, they weren't the third and put it over the bar. It's important for hands to keep the scoreboard ticking over at this stage, because we've seen already the Martins look like they're on form in the forwards.
You wouldn't like to be in the set of backs when the Martins are on form, Frank, would you?
No, very dangerous. You know, they're every position. You know, they have goal scorers and they have game winners. You know, here we go again. Now they're in again.
Harry O'Connor on the loose ball. Harry with a chance, just wide from Harry O'Connor. Poke out again from Paul Brennan. The target is Liam McGovern. He's marshalled well by Willie Devereux. Willie Devereux, foot hurl, anything he can get to it, he'll try get it to it. Ball picked up by Dottie Waters. Back to Joe Coleman from downtown. Just wide from Joe. Not very characteristic, but I'm sure he'll make amends for it. Jonathan Fogarty, the target of this puck out from St. Anne's. Ball won by Aaron Maddock. Jake Furman gets the hand pass from Maddock. He plays a long diagonal ball. Kieran Ling was the target. It works out well. Mikey Coleman looking for his second score today. Mikey Coleman, second score today. It's now St. Martin 6 points, St. Anne's 3. 14 minutes gone. Back down the open side, down on top of Jonathan Fogarty again. Aidan Rashford seems to be winning the foot race to that loose ball. The hand pass goes. Oh, very well done, Connor Furman. Dispossessed. Although they can't work it out, he pulled. Connor Furman pulls Jonathan Fogarty to the ground. Free in. Another handy one for DO, you'd believe, Frank.
Yeah, should be another point there for him. It was a good play by the Ans there again. They looked like they had runners coming through there, and unfortunately Fogarty couldn't get the pass away. But just in the game overall, it's been a really, really good start, high intensity start from both teams here. But the Martins' movement seems to be really, really troubling the Ans. You know, their men seem to have a couple of yards the whole time. I think it's going to be up to the Ans forwards to work really hard and stop initial ball going into them, you know, because it's very hard to mark movement, you know.
Cut off the supply rather than try prevent the score. D. O'Keefe stands over this. His trusted process, and it's a similar outcome every time. Another score for D. O'Keefe. Luke White with the puck out. Down on top of Joe Coleman in front of the stand. Joe Coleman catches that, hands it off to Aaron Maddock. Aaron shoots, and that's going wide. It's a wide ball. Ball poked out by Paul Brennan. Dottie Waters comes to claim it. Mikey Fogarty picks that up. Plays it to Liam McGovern. Back to Aaron Craig. Diagonal ball in towards Dara Furlong. They're really trying to get him on ball here in the first 15 minutes of this game. Loose ball coming. Aaron Maddock picks it up. Plays the sensible ball back to Paddy O'Connor. Paddy looks up. Didn't get the greatest of strike there, and it's picked up by midfielder Aidan Rashford. Fuller running. Picks out his midfield partner D. O'Keefe. The Martins are in trouble here. And it's pointed by D. O'Keefe. It's back to a 1 point game. 6 points to St. Martin's, 5 points to St. Anne's, 17 minutes gone. Luke White with the puck out, down towards Darren Codd. Darren's gone to the ground. Aidan Rashford picks it up, a slight pull on Aidan there. Another ball towards Dara Furlong again. Willie Devereux in possession of the ball. He finds Patrick O'Connor. He plays the ball in towards Mikey Coleman. He's been a real nuisance to the St. Anne's defence in the first 15 minutes of this game. Plays it back across towards Kieran Ling. Kieran Ling shooting on the back foot and shooting wide. Man, lucky effort. Paul Brown, the puck out down deep. D. O'Keefe is under it. It's caught well by number 10, Liam Rashford. Left behind him by D. O'Keefe after the hand pass from Rashford. The ruck is there, and it's Aaron Maddock is coming out with it. Patrick O'Connor in space. He looked to pick the pass. I'd suggest. He does, and he finds Jack O'Connor. Jack with all day, and Jack Julie adds on the point there. It's a 2 point game. 7 points to St. Martin's, 5 points to St. Anne's. Frank, just looking at this from the start here, and looking from the fixture during the week, you'd probably say the Anns are going to need goals to win this game.
Yeah, and they seem to be taking that approach too. You know, they've had maybe 2 or 3 half chances already, so they're definitely seem to go with that. But yeah, look, they'll be happy with how they've started all the same, even though I think it's going to be 3 down there now.
The Anns are 3 down there. Darren Codd in for the suspended Rory O'Connor today. Added that one. Puck out from Paul Brennan. Down on towards Aaron Maddock and Liam McGovern. Picked up by Liam Rashford, the captain. St. Anne's captain, trying to lead by example, and just puts it wide. Just flashes that one wide. An unlucky effort. Luke White with the short puck out to Conor Furman. Conor Furman to Jake. Jake drives another diagonal ball. Mikey Coleman's the target of this. Park O'Keefe with the hurl to bat it away from him. And he comes out. Ball towards Darren Codd, is it? Darren Codd is the ball. Step. Referee Dan Crosby. I think there was tugging on Darren Codd's jersey there by number 2. So Joe Coleman will.
Yeah, there should be no bother to Joe Coleman there and make it a 4 point game. And Jan's guilty of missing 1 or 2 chances there now, and they're going to need everything, it seems. You know, it's going to be 4 points now. But look, things that doesn't. Martin's been in this situation before. They'll keep tipping over the points, and really need to stay within touching distance of them.
Beautiful strike of a ball from Joe Coleman, and the umpire waves the white flag. It's gone to a 4 point game now with 10 minutes left in the second half. First half, sorry. I'm getting carried away with myself here. Poke out from Paul Brennan. Liam Rashford's the target. 2 Martin's men with him. Liam Rashford, he nearly wins that one. And Dottie Waters with the ground pull. Up towards Darren Codd. Darren Codd lying on that ball. It's like a rookie would have seen in the South Africa-Wales game this morning, but the loose ball comes. Jack O'Connor galloping towards the goal. Out to Jake Furman. Jake Furman adds the point. It's out to a 5 point game now. It's out to a 5 point game.
already have 4 of their forwards now scored from play, so it just goes to show that their hands are struggling to keep track of them. They'll need to tighten up there at the back if they want to stay within touching distance.
Joe Coleman back doing the defensive role at the wing forward, back to try win that puck out. Liam McGovern's on the ball, out towards Mikey Fogarty, Rhoda winner and tireless during the week. D. O'Keefe is onto the loose ball, has it in his hand now, the referee awards a free in St. Anne's. D. O'Keefe had to work hard for that one there, Frank.
He did, yeah. I think it was a definite free there. Maybe the ref was just waiting to see if he would be able to break out with there before he brought it back. But should be another point for them now, and this should be Dee's 4th point. So the Ans, they're not getting much joy from play at the minute, but the frees are keeping them in track.
A lot of men coming off the shoulder though, Frank, just as Dee's hitting this free, we'll chat about. There were a lot of men coming off the shoulder. They're going for a quick one. Liam McGovern. He's met up. Square on the 21 by Joe Connor. I think Joe could be in trouble for that, Frank.
Yeah.
By the letter of the law, he could be in trouble over that.
Yeah, I'd say at the stage of play here now, I think it'll probably be a yellow card, but it was definitely a dangerous frontal charge there onto it. See, the Ans really switched on there, as we mentioned earlier. It looks like they're going to have to go for goals, and that was another example that their intent.
Joe Kearns really has these flying though, Frank. Got him out of the group, and they haven't really looked back because they've really surprised everyone with this, haven't they? Joe's really got them flying.
Oh, absolutely. They're hopping off the ground there, and they see they've caught a few passes here now where they really look like they're on form at the minute. To get out of the group on 3 points, nobody really expecting much from, but the group stage is just sorting out, there's you win nothing for that. Once they got into the stage, it's about performing for the game that's ahead of you. They've done that in the quarter-final, they've done it in the semi-final, and they'll be happy with how they've started this so far as well.
Liam McGovern is still down receiving attention. Don't think so. I'm not sure. Did he get up? The referee is signalling for a blood substitute by the looks of it towards the Ans selectors. Jan's selection team is Joe Kearns, Alan Barry, David Murphy, Liam McGovern's father, Liam Senior, Paul French, and Kitman Martin Dwyer. And then the Martins management team is made up of Tomas Codd, Ian Myrna, John O'Connor, Charlie Carter, Barry Keane, Philip Jeffers, and Donald Howling. It looks like Doc O'Connor, the Wexford's stalwart for so many years in the early noughties, is coming on as a blood sub for Liam McGovern. D. O'Keefe prepares to hit the free. And he adds on the point. It's back to a 4-point game here with 5 minutes to go in the first half. Luke White with the poke out. Down towards Jack O'Connor. Jack tries to win it. He's marshalled well. Jake Furman, he's on so much breaking ball today. Jake Furman draws the foul there. Seems to be a bit of afters, but the referee will sort that out. Frank, how would you deal with a fella like Jake Furman? He's on everything that hits the ground there today.
Yeah, he's getting on all the breaks there. He seems to be really on song. He's got 2 points from play already there. You just have to try and obstruct maybe his initial run rather than that, because he's lightning quick. It's really hard to stay with him once his run has been made. So he's not physically the biggest, so maybe you just have to get in around him and just knock him off balance a little bit. He's
like a little Jerusalem bully running around here anyway in the first half. Joe Coleman with the free. Great strike from Joe. And wide from Joe. That's 2 wides from Joe Coleman today. He'll surely put one ball down on top of Doc O'Connor and Willie Dev here. Here was his height advantage. Liam Rashford is the target again. Mikey Fogarty catches that. Mikey Fogarty getting away from Patrick O'Connor. The hand pass in towards Red Barry, overcooked. Mark Maloney with the clearance. There's a ruck there and so many bodies in over that. Dan Crosby has no other option but to throw the ball in.
Georgia, a young boy that's lost, Ryan Cleary. He's on the uncovered stand side and he's with the Gardaí over there. So whoever's with Ryan Cleary, please call to one member of the Gardaí to connect Ryan. Go on with.
Ref throwing the ball in here now between Doc O'Connor and Patrick O'Connor. Jonathan Fogarty tries to get that into his hand. Red Barry had that cut away from by Joe O'Connor. Very good here in the first half, Joe's been. Jake Furman again coming deep into his own half to pick up ball, and Jake's after picking up a bit of a knock there now. Jake's back to his feet. Willie Devereux to hit the free. Mikey Coleman's calling for it. Pointing towards space. Referee Dan Crosby stopped it. There seemed to be a bit of a tanglement there between Jack O'Connor and Mikey Fogarty. Nothing in it now, but the referee is going to check with his linesman. Do you see that in there, Frank?
I think it was just a tangle. I think Jacko went to make a run there, and I think his man wasn't willing to let him go, we'll say.
Referee Dan Crosby gets on, tells Willie Devereux to get on with to hit the free. Willie Devereux lifts, strikes, drives it along down towards Mikey Coleman. Park O'Keefe with the big clearance down towards Dara Furlong. Dara uses his body well. He does very well there, but he's outnumbered by the Martins' bodies. Joe O'Connor with the clearance towards Harry. Harry putting the ball into space. Jake Furman in a foot race now with Aidan Rashford to that. Aidan Rashford wins the foot race, wins the ball and drives it out towards D. O'Keefe. A delicate ball by D. O'Keefe in towards Jonathan Fogarty, dispossessed by Harry O'Connor. Harry just aimlessly driving that back towards this St. Anne's full back line. Park O'Keefe sidesteps Kieran Ling coming out. Plays it Ken Clooney. Liam Rashford on the ball here with Aaron Maddock. Aaron Maddock wins it. Drives out Patrick O'Connor. He's really getting forward today. Patrick O'Connor. Wide ball from Patrick O'Connor. 3 minutes. Additional time, at least 4 minutes. There'll be 4 minutes of additional time. We're actually into the first minute of that there now. Liam McGovern, I think, is back on. We're number 23. Liam McGovern onto that loose ball. He's going inside. He was pulled down there by Aaron Maddock. Cynical, but had to be done.
Yeah, much like the one earlier there in the first half, just a bit closer into goal. Had to bring him down there rather than let him get the strike away. There looked to be a lot of bodies there, so I'm not sure if he would have got through or not, but it should be another point here now just to keep him edging a little bit closer as we come up to half time.
O'Keefe getting a bit of hardship going to hit this free from Aaron Maddock, getting nothing easy today. Frank, if you were in the St. Anne's camp, you're going in at half time, you're probably You've 90 seconds left in this first half, but you're within a goal. Like 2016, we seen Ferns stayed within a goal, 2 points, and Ducker came on and got that winner. So what would you be saying to the lads? Just keep their head.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you're within a score of them, there's always a chance. You know, in hurling, a ball can bounce anywhere once you let it into that square. So, you know, it's always worth sticking around with it. It's easy to tag off points if you do get momentum. So, you know, you're never really out of it until there's maybe only a minute or two left. Like, you know,
that long poke out from Luke White was towards Kieran Ling. He played it back across to Mikey Coleman, but Jake Furman's on the ball there now. Jake, that's on. Unlike Jake so far today, that's gone wide from Jake Furman. 40 seconds left in the first half here in Wexford Park in the Pettit Senior Hurling Final. Paul Brennan to get the game restarted. Down towards D. O'Keefe. Picked up by Patrick O'Connor. He's on a lot of loose ball. He sends it diagonally towards Mikey Coleman again. Park O'Keefe seems to got grips to him. Aaron Craig hand passes it towards Red Barry, who's come deep. That's picked up by Dottie Waters. Dottie back to Joe O'Connor. Joe sends it along. Back down on top of the Westmeath man, Aaron Craig. Transferred to St. Anne's this year. Mark Foley plays it forward. Liam McGovern. Liam McGovern from distance. Luke White calmly under that. He's caught there by number 13, Dara Furlong. I don't know. I'd say it was a lot. That was a hurl on a cold hand now, Frank.
Yeah, not sure where he caught him there. Looks like he's going into the umpire. He was in a really good position to see what happened there. You often see it as a keeper comes out there just getting maybe a flick of a hurl, but we'll see what the ref does here now.
Luke White getting this game restarted with the free just inside his own box. Four minutes gone here of additional time. It's down on top of Mikey Fogarty and Jake Furman. Mark Furlong battling for that ball there. It's picked up by Darren Codd. Darren Codd sprays it back in towards Mikey Coleman. He's really been unsung in this first half. He's got it again. Oh, great. Oh, it's a goal. It's a goal for St. Martin's. Jake Furman. He's been on fire in this first half, Frank. He's been on fire, and the Ans will not have wanted that. That's not what they would have wanted. A critical time for a goal to go in.
Yeah, just on half time, it's a real blow for the Ans. So we went in really happy there as the whistle goes here now, but it's gone out to 6 points now, and kind of fitting that Jake Furman to be the one to get, because he's been absolutely everywhere today. He's that's 1-2 now he has to play. Really tough to handle. The Ans haven't got an answer for him yet.
Yeah, Jake has been flying it there in the first half as the teams progress towards the dressing rooms. You'd be kind of a little bit worried there now, Frank, if you were with St. Anne's, wouldn't you? Like, Dio has 6 of their 7 scores, and most of them are from frees.
Yeah, Dio is 1 from play, and Dara Furlong is 1 from play as well. Other than that, it's all frees. Now, granted, a lot of the frees are close into the goal there, where maybe there'll be a sniff of goal chance on, so maybe it's good play from the Martins taking them down at that stage, but they definitely need more scores from play and more spread out scores. If we look at the Martin side, they've 8 wides at this stage and 10 points, so they've had 19 scoring chances, whereas the Ans have only had 3 wides, so 19 to 10 on scoring chances really. They're much more spread out there as well. As say, we've 1, 2, 3, 4 of the forwards have scored for the Martins at this stage, whereas we only have 1 really from the Ans, so that's the difference at the minute. Having said that, without that goal there, the Ans would have been happy enough, I think, going in. Only 3 points down, but that goal now changes the team talk a little bit. There's a bit of a mountain to climb now from in the second half.
Frank, if you're Joe Kearns, like what do you say? Like, you have to really change your game, not your game plan, but your team talk there now.
Yeah, look at if there's one team that you think could handle this, it's probably the Ans. You know, they've been underdogs ever since they come out of that group. Even the come out of the group, they were underdogs, you know, and they've answered each time. Be a great comeback if it does come to it at this stage. We covered the match in the relegation final as well, where it went extra time. They had great legs. Unfortunately, didn't win that one either, but they've shown that they do have stamina there. You know, they can go the distance on it. All they can do is just keep trying to bring it back point after point after point. You know, in the semi-final, we were maybe 6 or 7 down for a lot of the time as well. Got it back. Then all of a sudden you get a goal, and momentum swings with you. You know, so they'll need some of them momentum swingers in this second half, because the Martins will keep tipping over points. You know, but all they can do is take it a point at a time. Even if they're 5 or 6 down or 5 or 6 left, they have a great chance of getting something out of this. You know, because hurling's a funny old game. You know, once momentum swings to you, you can pick off points from nearly anywhere on the pitch. You know, so they won't panic yet. Nobody's expecting that coming into this. They all thought the Martins were going to walk home. We've seen the first half, they're ultra competitive here with them. You know, it's not a 6-point game really, I don't think, but that's where they're at now at the minute. The Ans have already seen that they could get goal chances. You know, they've had 2 or 3 half chances in there already, but they'll need to take 1 or 2 of them. I think they are going to need a couple of goals, I'd say, to win this from here.
Yeah, they are. They're definitely going to need a couple of goals, but they're getting into positions, like you said there earlier. A lot of their frees have been very close in, and they've just been a few snag tackles. So hopefully they'll fall off a couple of them tackles in a St. Anne's point of view, and hopefully they can get a goal or 2 and really make the second half go.
Yeah, I have to say I've been really impressed with the Martins backline here. You know, they've fouled when they needed to foul. They've limited them to 2 points from play, and they're used to the ball afterwards. They don't just lump it out. You know, they work it through the lines and get good ball into the forwards end. So I think the Martins backs have been really good here.
Yeah, they've been really on some. Joe Connor, for me particularly, he's been getting on a lot of loose ball. So hopefully we're in for a really good second half here anyway, Frank. And guys, we're going to take a couple of minutes break here, recharge the batteries, and we'll be back to you with the second half.
Big thanks to Frank Devereux and Martin Murt there for their commentary on the first half. So, as I said, it's St. Anne's with a deficit to build up here. St. Anne's of Rathangan 7 points, St. Martin's 1 goal and 10. We will be back with the second half shortly.
Referee Dan Crosby ready to throw in the ball here in Wexford Park. D. O'Keefe's over that. There's a bit of a scuffle. D. O'Keefe has it. All-star nomination, gives it to Aidan Rochford. Aidan Rochford shoots. The Ans need a response here early. That goes off the hand of Luke White. It's an early opportunity here for the Ans to peg one back. D. O'Keefe will be hitting the 65.
Yeah, it's crucial here now that the Ans start chipping away at this lead early on. You know, it's 6 at the minute. If it starts going out to 8 or 9, I only see one winner. Whereas if it starts coming back to 4 or 5 points, we have a game on our hands here.
To get back to 4 or 5, Frank, they're giving themselves a fighting chance. But if it goes beyond the 6 point mark, you'd fear for the Ans, wouldn't you?
Yeah, look, the Ans, they'll never stop fighting on it, but the Martins, you know, they've such good forwards there that they'll keep tipping away on that scoreboard, you know, so you really need to put pressure on them and start to make them feel the pressure of a county final rather than just a day in the park, you know.
D. O'Keefe adds the point and brings it back to a 5 point game. 110 to 8 points. Luke White with the puck out. Down towards Jack O'Connor. Jack O'Connor fighting gallantly for that. Darren Codd picks up the loose ball. He loses it. Aidan Rochford, his direct running style. He's running still from inside the Ans half deep in Mikey Fogarty. Aidan Rochford was hit late there. And the referee Dan Crosby awards the free. His direct running is something to look at though, Frank.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, the Martins aren't liking it when they're going at him. Seems to really suit the Ans. You know, there's some really good athletes there in around that middle third of the field. Good refereeing there as well. Got the advantage, tried to let him go with it, but once they saw they were kind of going down a dead end, he brought it back. And look, this will be just the start the Ans wanted now. Hopefully it's going to be back to 4 points here now.
D. O'Keefe stands over the free. He duly adds the free as well. It's back to a 4 point game. Luke White with the puck out, looking for his targets. He's going long down on top of Jack O'Connor. Jack hasn't really been in the game in open play yet. Harry O'Connor with broken play. Darren Codd with the ball in hand. Aaron Craig with the tackle. Jack O'Connor again. Jack Connor's really come into this in the last 2 minutes. I don't think Jack O'Connor is letting go of that ball, and Mikey Fogarty is going full Conor McGregor on him. On the ground and pound.
Yeah, look, a bit of a scuffle there on that one, but look, I don't think there's that in it really, you know. Referee was on the spot there fairly quickly to keep track of things.
Boys will be boys. Dan Crosby will, I think he's awarding a free here. Yeah, he's awarding a free. Big Joe Coleman has it in his hand. He'll look to add his 4th point of the day, 3rd from a free, and Dan Crosby is actually helping Joe out. He's bringing it even closer in. Coleman lifts, strikes, and adds the score. Paul Brennan with the puck out. He goes long down towards Liam McGovern. Mikey Fogarty picks up the ball. Hand pass doesn't go to hand by Aidan Rochford has it. He's great to look at when he's running at you. Unlucky with the hand pass, and it's Conor Furman, the county man, coming out. Doesn't have it. It's back to Liam Rochford. And Liam flashes that across the goal and wide. St. Anne's can't be letting opportunities like that slip.
Yeah, that's Liam's 2nd wide of the game there, and you know, the Ans worked really, really hard to get that ball back there, put in some big hits. You know, and it would have been a real momentum booster now had that gone over the bar, but Martin survived again.
Conor Furman is down receiving treatment. Luke White looking to get the game restarted now. He's going long towards Joe Coleman. Liam McGovern soaring through the air and fetches that. He's on his bike now. He looks for the hand pass towards Mikey Fogarty. Mikey leaves it behind him, gets it into his hand. Met up hard by Aaron Maddock. Mikey Fogarty hands it out to Liam Rashford. He is Harry O'Connor in hot pursuit. Liam adds it across the goal. Oh, Jonathan Fogarty just let the ball fall out of his hands and Joe O'Connor picks it up. Jake Furman picks off the hand pass and Jack O'Connor comes deep. He's galloping towards the St. Anne's half. He drives it in long towards Mikey Coleman. Mikey loses the ball in the sun, but Darren Codd has picked up the loose ball. Oh no, he hasn't. Aaron Craig coming out for St. Anne's, looking for options. Down towards Mark Furlong. He loses out there, and it's Jake Furman and Aidan Rashford fighting over that. I think Aidan Rashford has it. Aidan Rashford does have it. He's run that Willie Devereux. Gives it to Liam McGovern, the right man to give it to. Liam shoots. Wide from Liam McGovern. There's another wide, Frank. You have to fear for him.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they need every score they can get at this stage. Each wide just sucks more and more momentum away from, you know. So they really need to start putting these over the bar if they want to catch them.
Puck out from Luke White down towards Jack O'Connor. Seems to be the target of the puck outs in this second half. Darren Codd gets it into his hand. Mark Furlong drives along, diagonal ball towards Dara Furlong. Joe O'Connor picks up the loose ball, drives it down towards the St. Anne's full back line. Ken Clooney leaves it behind him. Has Kieran Ling to contend with, and Kieran Ling put lots of pressure on him there and forcing the ball out off the St. Anne's man. It's a line ball to be cut by Joe Coleman. Where's Joe leaving it now? I think Jack O'Connor. No, Jack is taking this. Jack, I think, scored 2 in the semi-final against Ferns. There was one of them under the stand here, Frank. It was fairly impressive.
Yeah, he broke our hearts that day with him, you know. It's such a skill, you know. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. But it takes hours and hours of practice, you know, to be that good at it. We'll see what he can do with this one there. I had no doubt he came a long way across to take this, so I had no doubt he's going to go for this one.
He's confident in his approach to it anyhow. Jack O'Connor. Joe Coleman's in around the house in case it drops short. Jack cuts, that's travelling well and just across the goal and wide. Unlucky from Jack. Frank, you praise them when they go over, but when they go wide, they're a wasted opportunity like that.
Absolutely, yeah, but you know, I think the boost it gives you when they do go over kind of outweighs the negatives, you know, so I have no problem with a lad trying him, especially when he can hit him like that.
Short poke out from Paul Brennan. It's just been cleared altogether. Oh jeez, Jonathan Fogarty came to claim that and left it behind him. Willie Devereux picked up the spare ball. Kieran Ling with the show and go to Mikey Coleman, brings it back and sticks it over the bar. Great score there from St. Martin's. Great score. Poke out from Paul Brennan. Mikey Fogarty gets down to it anyway. He's down low enough. D. O'Keefe is battling for it. Aaron Maddock is there too. Liam McGovern is ball in hand. Out to Red Barry. Hasn't been seen really yet today, but we know he can be dangerous. A long diagonal ball into Jonathan Fogarty. Big man. He's just battled away by Connor Furman. Jake Furman. In towards Mikey Coleman. Oh, Mikey Coleman's goal side. Well done, number 4, Ken Clooney, coming across there to snuff out that opportunity. And the St. Anne's win a free out. Pádraig O'Keefe winning the free out.
Yeah, that's a couple of times just earlier there that the Anns have dropped long balls in. Obviously looking to see if they can get a goal out of it, but they need to get more bodies in around them, you know. It's a little bit isolated there. It was 3 or 4 on 2 at that stage. They're going to need to get more in around it if they want to get on it.
Long ball by Kevin Whelan in towards the St. Martin's Square. Jonathan Fogarty competes. Mike Fogarty is in hot pursuit of Willie Devereux. Willie Devereux hands it out to Jake Foreman. Jake's clearance is blocked by Aidan Rashford. Ten minutes gone here in Wexford Park. It's 1-12 to St. Martin's, 9 points to St. Anne's. Willie Devereux with the sideline cut just inside his own 65. 45. Drives it down towards Darren Codd. Batted away by Kevin Whelan to Lee Moog McGovern. Plays the ball in towards Red Barry. Red's been well marshalled by Joe O'Connor all day. Joe trying to get it into his hand, but Joe, you've carried it out over the line. Line ball to St. Anne's. Cut from Mark Furlong. It's well read by Patrick O'Connor. He had a sloppy hand pass, missed, and Mark Maloney is unable to prevent the 65. That'll give Dee O'Keefe another opportunity to bring this game back to a 5-point game.
Yeah, the Anne's started the second half fairly well, but as you see, there's still 6 in it, like we were at half time, so there's another 10 minutes gone there now and they're no closer to them, so they're really going to have to start taking every score they get and see if they can get on top here in this game, because the Martins, they're well able to keep tipping that scoreboard going. So
Frank, they've sort of gone away from their running style, which has been giving St. Martin's a bit of hassle. Like the last 5-6 minutes, we haven't seen Aidan Rashford get up the head of steam that he can to cause problems, and the same with Dee.
Yeah, look, there's a couple of ways to see it. As we see that point gone over there again, so back to 5. It's a very intense game, it's hard to do that for the full hour, even though these guys are super fit. But also there might be a little bit of panic setting in, and that they're trying these long balls in, hoping to get the goal. But I think they should stick to what they were doing, because they look very dangerous as they were doing it. See another long ball there now, which goes harmlessly wide. So another example of maybe just a little bit of panic starting to set in here on the Anne side.
Luke White with the puck out. Down long, Jack O'Connor the target again. Batted away by Aaron Craig of St. Anne's. Mark Furlong hooked by Jack O'Connor. Dottie Waters picks up the loose ball. Dee O'Keefe dispossessed by Darren Codd. He's been a real thorn in the St. Anne's defence side all day. Dee O'Keefe galloping clear, sends it in towards Dara Furlong. Here's Aidan Rashford running off his shoulder. He's turned Mark Maloney. He's turned him. Willie Devereux fouled him there. Foul by Willie Devereux. He's protesting his case, but I don't think Frank that was cynical again.
Yeah, look, again, to me that's really clever play. I think had he got the pass off there was a definite goal chance, or if he had got around him, and Willie, he's very experienced at this stage. He was going to bring him down there either legally or illegally, so he'll probably end up in the card after this one, as we see it just as he's coming through here again. They had men over. Yeah, he just body checked him there, really wasn't going to let him get through on that. So again, it's that little bit of nous from the Martins there, their backline, that another team might let him get through there and we'd have a game on our hands, but they'll tip this over the bar. It'll be back to 4 points now, 15 left, so anything's possible here still.
Willie Dev has picked up a yellow for his troubles there.
Yeah, they're back to that running style again. You see it cause more problems again, they had a couple of bodies coming through there, so it's hard one to keep through for the hour, but the spaces will open up now in this last 15 if they do stick with it, so it'll be interesting to see what tactic they go with.
Dee O'Keefe adds on the point. We're back to a 4-point game. Luke White with the short poke out to Conor Furman. He's pressed by Jonathan Fogarty. That's great pressure from the number 15, Jonathan Fogarty, today. Willie Devereux with the sideline cut. It's a great one. It's in towards Jack O'Connor. He's running onto it. It's a joy to see. Harry O'Connor's the target of his hand pass. Liam Rashford misses the pick. Liam McGovern gets it into his hand and he's coming out of his own half back line. He finds Mikey Fogarty with the hand pass. Mikey Fogarty tacks on the point. We're back to a 3-point game here in Wexford Park in the Pettit Senior Hurling Final. Mikey Fogarty.
Yeah, super score, and I think that's the loudest cheer we've had in here yet. You know, to have it back to 3 points now. It's a 1-score game, and this is the momentum the Ans are trying to get now.
Harry O'Connor's the target of that puck out from Luke White. He picks out Willie Devereux. Willie looks up, throws it onto the stick. He's pressed by Red Barry. Willie gives the hand pass to Kieran Ling. He'll pull back, he'll shoot into the town end. It's going wide. Mikey Coleman could be in on that. Wide ball from Kieran Ling. We'll have a look at the St. Anne's last score there. Fantastic score, Mikey Fogarty. Poke out from Paul Brennan. Liam McGovern knocks it out. Mark Furlong runs onto it, picks it up in underneath the stand. His hand pass is blocked by Harry O'Connor. Frank, it's hard not to think. Has the momentum sort of shifted in St. Anne's favour here? They've line ball here now. I think it's Dee O'Keefe going to hit it. Could be Mark Furlong. No, it's Mark Furlong hitting it, but momentum seems to be going in St. Anne's favour in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and look, each team is going to get that period. You know, it's about capitalising on it. They've 13 minutes here now to work their way back into it, so they need to take their chances now while they have this momentum.
Ball cut in by Mark Furlong. It's in on the St. Martin's 14. Darragh Furlong has it. Has he pulled down? It's a penalty here in Wexford Park. A penalty here in Wexford Park for St. Anne's. Darragh Furlong pulled down in the square. We've really got a game on our hand here now, John. This could be it.
Yeah, look, this will tie it up here now if we can get it. I think it was a definite penalty. He seemed to have it in his hand there and was then dragged to the ground. It's a huge chance now, you know. It's going to be a momentum swing for one team either way, regardless of this now.
Mark Furlong hitting the 21. Oh, it's hit the post and out. It's hit the post and out. Luke White had it covered, I think. Down to Harry O'Connor. Harry has that in his hand. He leaves it behind for Darren Codd. Mark Furlong. Jeez, he was very unlucky there, Frank.
It was, yeah. Couldn't have hit much better. Just rattled it inside the post and back out. So very unlucky there. Martin survived.
Joe Coleman deep in his own half. Sends it long. Mikey Coleman, he's trying to get on to the end of it, but just unlucky. We're going to have another look at that penalty there from Mark Furlong. Long ball in. Willie Devereux foul coming out. Willie Devereux foul coming out there. Willie Devereux stands over this free. He looks up, strikes it long and high. It's in under St. Anne's rectangle square. Jack O'Connor's fighting for possession. He doesn't get it. It's Liam McGovern out to Aidan Rashford. Pádraig O'Keefe. Pádraig O'Keefe looks up and sends it long down towards Red Barry. Red Barry and Joe O'Connor fight it out. Aaron Maddock is there. Mikey Fogarty. Mikey has it, does he? No. I think they say Ann's feel aggrieved. They feel Mikey was fouled. Joe Coleman. Absolutely put to the floor by Kevin Whelan, who just flashes that wide. Unlucky from Kevin Whelan. Takes a big man to drop big Joe Coleman like that, Frank.
Yeah, big shot there, and he's probably had the adrenaline rush then to go for the point as well. Narrowly wide though.
Frank, if that went over, I don't think we'd have been able to chat a whole lot, because I think the stand here in front of us would have went mad. Luke White with the puck out, down on top of Harry O'Connor. It's batted away by Liam McGovern. D. O'Keefe sends it in long towards Jonathan Fogarty. John Fogarty pulls. Joe O'Connor gets it up and away. Kieran Ling deep inside his own half, picking up that ball. Willie Devereux sends it long. Harry O'Connor and D. O'Keefe are there. Park O'Keefe comes out with it. Mark Furlong sends it in towards Mikey Fogarty. Great fetch by Fogarty. Drops it short. Luke White, safest pair of hands there today. Sends it out to Dottie Waters. Down towards Mikey Coleman, who was beaten to that by Tomas Cullen. And Tomas was then dispossessed, but Aaron Craig there to tidy up. Jonathan Fogarty fighting there. Aidan Rashford is there. Great ball by Aidan Rashford across to Dara Furlong. Being hounded by Mark Maloney, who's helped out by Willie Devereux to Harry O'Connor. Harry O'Connor looking for options. Back to Mark Maloney. He drives it long and high towards Mikey Coleman. Mikey Coleman beaten in the air. Liam McGovern wearing 23 after his blood sub earlier. Joe Coleman dispossesses. He dispossessed Kevin Whelan, I think. And Mikey Coleman is in to help. There's a goal on here, Jake Furman. Joe Coleman. Great defending by St. Anne's. Looked to be a sure goal on there, Frank.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a goal there now, but the Anns are working it out again here now.
The crowd are behind St. Anne's here in Wexford Park. Patrick O'Connor sends it long. Kieran Ling. He's out in front of Ken Clooney. He turns him. Back to Aaron Maddock, who finds Darren Codd in loads of space. And Darren Codd will punish it. Darren Codd does punish St. Anne's.
Yeah, that's Darren's second point of the game there now. It's interesting. Last 5 or 6 minutes definitely been the Anne's best period of the match, but they didn't show on the scoreboard. They were 3 points down when they had that penalty a few minutes ago, and now they're 4 down. It was a big few minutes there where they had momentum, but they just didn't get the scores at the end of it. So we're back up to 4-point game here now. As we're going to show just that Darren Codd point in for the suspended Rory O'Connor today. Lovely score, knocks over his second. That's all 6 forwards now for the Martins who scored from play. Whereas on the Anne side we only have 1 score from play, so it's telling a story in itself, that is. But the Anne's definitely had momentum, hasn't showed yet. They've 5 or 6 minutes now to claw this back, but I don't know whether it's the Martins are wilting or whether the Annes have just upped their game a little bit more, but definitely momentum seems to be with the Annes here.
Martin substitution number 4, Mark Maloney has been replaced by 21, Michael Codd.
We have a substitution on the St. Martin side. Mark Maloney has been replaced by Michael Codd. Jake Furman is back to his feet there now. And Paul Brennan is going to get the game restarted with a puck out. Looks like Kyle Furman is being prepared by Tomas Codd and Co here on the line as well. In our next break and play, we're going to have Doc O'Connor in for Jonathan Fogarty for St. Anne's. So Rook there, I think that substitution will be made happen now. We've 5 minutes left here in Innovate Wexford Park in the Pettit Senior Hurling Final. A 4-point game. Both sides looking to use their bench. Fran, Doc has gone straight in there to full forward. It's going to be Route 1, ain't it? He used to be unbelievable in the air for Wexford, so...
Yeah, I think there'll be no surprise here. They're attack, at this stage. They'll let it in there and they're going to need goals at this stage, I think.
D.O. Keefe flashes into Doc O'Connor. It could be an instant impact here in Wexford Park. There's a scuffle there. The ref is probably going to have to bring it out and throw it in. Aidan Rashford with a goal! Aidan Rashford! Sildan's game on here in Wexford Park. He somehow ended up with that in his hand, Frank. I don't know how, but...
Exactly, yeah, to put the big man in there straight and on top of Doc, cause havoc there now. I think everybody expected the ref to blow it dead. He kept it going, Rochford pounced on it. Alright, we've a game on now, one lit, one in it.
We'll really see what the Martins are made of here now. The ball from Luke White down on top of Jack O'Connor. The hands are in fighting for it. Aaron Maddock wins it. Out to Kieran Ling. He shoots. He shoots and it's wide from Kieran Ling. Paul Brennan with a quick poke out down long towards Aidan Rashford again, or Liam Rashford. Referee Dan Crosby awards a free. Liam was fouling. He was fouling Mikey Coleman there, I think. We've a replay of that goal. You'll be able to see for yourself because we didn't really see a whole lot of it. Aidan Rashford, poacher's finish in the box there. Frank, 3 minutes left here, point game. Could we be looking at a replay?
Stranger things have happened. You wouldn't bet against it at this stage. Looks like Joel's going to have a point here to put 2 in it, which changes things ever so slightly, but I think there'll definitely be chances there for the answer to tie it, if not go on and win it. It's about who can take their chances now in this last few minutes.
We could see a repeat of the Ducker Hawkins goal here in 2016. Something like that could happen in the county final, like.
Yeah, absolutely. But then if you look at the semi-final this year again, around this stage we were clawing it back. We had Martins back to a point as well, and we ended up losing by 4. So the Martins will have been in this situation before where questions have been asked of them. They've answered them in the past. We'll see now if they're going to stay answering these ones.
Patrick O'Connor receiving treatment. Joe Coleman stands over this free. Just 5 yards inside his own 65. Joe Coleman lifts, strikes, sends it into the town end. Sends it over the bar. Joe Coleman with the score. Big Joe. It's when you do need your big players to stand up, and Joe Coleman seems to constantly do it.
Oh yeah, huge pressure on that free there. It didn't seem to faze him in the slightest. Martins were glad of that little break there. I think they had a man down injured, and it maybe settled him down a little bit. But fair play to Joe there. When it was really they needed him, he stuck it over.
Substitution on the St. Martin side. Number 7 Patrick O'Connor withdrawn, and number 18 Owen O'Leary is introduced. Paul Brennan with the puck out. Long down towards Red Barry, I think was the target there. Red Barry went for it. The Ans have it. They're running. Aidan Rashford, dangerous with ball in hand all day. Liam McGovern rides one tackle. He's being pulled back. Surely, no. The ref still allows play go on. The referee Dan Crosby has stopped play here, and I think it could be Jake Furman down on the far side there, or Willie Devereux actually. There's a replay of Joe Coleman's super point from the free. $16 minutes gone here in Wexford Park, and a Pettit senior
Hurling final. Luke White with a long free. Sends it long. Anywhere down in the St. Anne's half will do for the Martins. Jack O'Connor soars highest to fetch that. There'll be 4 minutes added on time here. The referee, Dan Crosby, awards a free in for St. Martin's. Jack O'Connor fouled by the St. Anne's players. We'll have 4 minutes additional time here. 1 minute 15 seconds gone of that already. Joe Coleman with a free to make it a 3-point game.
Yeah, Joe will take his time over this one now, but great fetch there by Jacko, you know, to come down with the ball and draw in the free. Exactly what the Martins needed at this stage. We're well into injury time now at this stage. Joe seems to be going to take his time over this one. Looks like the Ans are going to need another goal, I think.
Tomas Codd has been sent to the stand by the fourth official for something on the line. Tomas Codd has been removed from the sideline. Is it? It is a member of the management side. We thought it was Tomas Codd first, but we actually been informed it's John O'Connor.
Substitution for St. Martin's, number 15, Mikey Coleman, has been replaced by 19, Ben Maddock.
A substitution on the St. Martin's side. Mikey Coleman being taken out. A stellar performance by Mikey. And he's replaced by number 19, Ben Maddock. What a sub to have to bring in, Frank.
Yeah, I've worked with Ben a little bit there now. He's a class act, you know, really big man there now. He's going to win his own ball as well. So good sub to be able to bring on at this stage of the game.
Ben Maddock on the ball. The new man. He looks for the pass. Aidan Rashford dispossesses. Linesman has his flag up. Park O'Keefe aggrieved with the decision. Jake Furman seems to be wobbling on that leg there. Frank, for me, he's been my man of the match there, Frank. He's been unsung.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you there, especially in that first half. You know, he's on fire. He's 1-2 from play so far today, but at the time so far has been very stop-start, which plays into the Martins' hands, you know, but seem to have a ball here now ready to lob it in.
No prizes for guessing. Doc O'Connor will probably be the target. Giant of a man. D. O'Keefe stands over this free on the open stand side. Sends it in. And over the bar. Point for D. O'Keefe. Back to a 2-point game. 4 minutes of the additional time are just gone. I'm sure the ref probably told him there's going to be extra, Frank, for him to just tap it over like that.
Yeah, like I say, you'd expect that on a few more minutes between all the injuries that we've had at this stage. So maybe they'll have a couple of more chances maybe to get a ball in around the square.
Luke White with the poke out. Long towards Harry O'Connor. Fighting with Mikey Fogarty in the air for that. It's a St. Anne's line ball. Frank, there's a lot lying down here. What's going on? Although Harry does look to be in pain, so Jake Furman is took out of the game there, and he's replaced by who has it been replaced by? (22) Jack Devereux. Mark Furlong with the sideline ball here. Surely one last roll of the dice for St. Anne's. Doesn't cut the way he wants. Goes out off number 4, Ken Clooney. Jack O'Connor will probably take his time over this now, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, again, it's eating into the Martins' hands again here, but can't be very long left on this now. I think another shot from the Martins might be enough, but with all this stoppage time, it's up to the ref really how much he's going to buy it and how much he's going to add on.
Joe Coleman has a word with Jack O'Connor and he opts to take it. Doesn't cut it too far. Lee Moog McGovern fouled by Jack O'Connor. Ref Dan Crosby awards the free. Lee Moog lobs it in around the house, and it's Willie Devereux, the captain for today, co-captain with Paddy Kelly, with the ball, hands it to Jack O'Connor, and Dan Crosby has blown the full-time whistle here in Wexford Park. St. Anne's are your 2019 senior hurling champions. Frank, give us a synopsis of what you felt.
Yeah, maybe it's actually typical of the year. The Martins have done enough in each game, you know. As I would have said, they're in maybe third gear here for a lot of the game, which they seem to have been for most of the year, but they're always on top when it comes to the scoreboard, the final whistle. The Anns worked so hard there, got it back to a point, I think, or was back to level at one stage. But bring it back to a point maybe, you know, and they could have went and snuck it, but the Martins showed huge character there to go and pull ahead again. Drew the fouls, really, really clever, you know, shows that this is their third final in a row. They know how to play the occasion. Got the goal at the right time, tipped away at the points, and then when it was needed, they had the cool heads to slot the ball over the bar, take the sting out of the game. The Anns just couldn't get that momentum after the goal again. Just on the scores, you know, the Martins well spread out, you know. Joe Coleman was brilliant on the frees, as we'd expect from Dee O'Keefe on the other side as well. Dee O'Keefe got 11 points, 10 from frees or 65 as well, you know. So at the end of the day, it was probably the spread of scores which done it for the Martins. We said they had more game winners, and to me that's what kind of showed, you know. In the first half, I thought Jake Foreman was absolutely outstanding. He was everywhere on the pitch. Second half, Jack O'Connor kind of came into his own. I thought he fetched some brilliant ball when they needed him most, you know. But I have to say, their forwards get load of plaudits, but their backs I thought were outstanding today, you know. They hunted and packed, they worked the ball out really, really well there. So, you know, it's a really well-rounded team performance, you know. It's to get to a final 3 years in a row with a team that young, it's no fluke, you know. They're really talented, really well coached, and you have to say this year they're deserved winners of the title.
Yeah, no, they've really fought for it. They were mid-fight for today. They're probably the extra motivation will do it for Rory as well. So, like, you're going to have, I think, Paddy Kelly and Willie Devereux, their co-captains, going up to collect the Dr. Ball Cup. It's going back to Pearsestown again, but it's kind of frightening, Frank. You look at that, like, we've the average age worked out there, what, 24, 25. It's kind of scary because these boys are going to be around for a long time, and you look at their bench, most of them young fellas on that bench have hurled underage of some capacity for Wexford.
Yeah, look at them young lads. They'll be starting on most other senior teams at this stage, you know. Murt just having abundance of talent. It's a credit to what's gone on down there at underage, you know. It's no fluke that these lads have come up through the county system, you know. They're really, really doing well down with their underage structure down there, and they're starting to reap their rewards. And I say starting because this group aren't finished yet, you know. There's going to be more county titles for these when you take it. They've won this title now without probably one of the best forwards in the country, you know, and their captain as well, you know, is missing from that team. So, you know, serious credit to him for that, you know. Show great character and great strength and depth really at this stage.
Just commiserations to St. Anne's. They fought gallantly and they just came up short to probably the better side. They fought very hard, and they just couldn't get there really, couldn't push on to get to it.
Yeah, look, I don't think you could ask any more. The Anns, they gave it absolutely everything. They're shattered walking off that pitch there now, you know, both physically and mentally, I'd say. They had a couple of chances there. The last 15, I think they really bossed the play. They had most of it. The penalty miss, you know, really, really small margins. A couple of chances after that as well, but that's the game of hurling, you know. Had they got that score, it might have been a completely different game. Maybe it would have sparked the Martins back into life, but they didn't get him. Martins took their chances and they got him, you know. So, you know, you get what you deserve at the end of an 8-game championship season, you know.
Yeah, really, that is it. You work 9 months of the year for days like this. Well, probably more actually. It's November now. Yeah. You're working since January for this. But like, for me today, like you said, Frank, the backs really stood up for St. Martin's. You look at their forward line, that's what jumps out at you, is their forward line. But the likes of Joe O'Connor, Dottie Waters, Willie Dev, they all hurled unbelievable, as did the other 3 backs. But them 3 really, really stood out for me today. And look,
Jack O'Connor came to the fore like he has for Wexford this year. Jack really came to the fore in the second half, and you could nearly say pull them over that line when the going got up from Joe Coleman with the pressure cooker score as well. So congratulations, St. Martin's, you're this year's county senior champions.
And thanks very much to Martin, Murt, Kehoe and to Frank Devereux who were on commentary duty there today. Especially thanks to Murt there who stepped up at the last minute, and it was great to have him on board for this county final. And this is your live producer John Moynihan here, saying we hope you enjoyed our deferred coverage of the game, and we certainly hope that we'll be back next season with more GAA action, club GAA action, but in the meantime we'll be covering lots of different sports. Just keep your eyes close on the All Rounder podcast Facebook page and All Rounder Sport on YouTube.
St. Martin's players please to the podium for the presentation. St. Martin's
Do stay tuned because we will be covering the trophy celebration very, very soon.
Thanks very much. Delighted, it's a body delighted to receive this for the team today. It's been a tough year, it's been a long 2 years. First of all, I'd like to thank St. Anne's. We know each other a long time, a lot of us are good friends. It was enjoyable playing today, it was tough, it was never going to be easy. It's what we expected, we got it and we got it, what to do is today. And when we got everything we expected as well. Tough hard game, really good hurlers. I'd like to thank you for a great game. Not a short alert, tough practice, and I'm sure we'll see you over next week and we'll be delighted to have you down. So I'm not going to give you 3 cheers. All I'd like to do is say thanks very much for a good game and we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now we'd like to thank our management. I'm not going to start naming up because it's a great model, so many. But all the boys, thanks very much. It's been 5 years throughout this. We've had ups, downs, tough times, good times, every sort of kind of life. But it's all working today. We had last year with a disappointment, met by a good goalie team. But this put the icing on the cake for us. As a group, we're delighted. We thank you for your time, we thank your families. Thanks very much, thanks guys. Bye. All the home officials, Chairman, Jack, Frank, all the lads who do the rounds on the pitch, junior management, everyone who makes it possible for us. Our main sponsors, Pettit, Jimmy Hayes, thanks Paddy. Our main sponsors, Pettit, you're unbelievable. We couldn't ask for a better sponsorship than good back to the Pettit family, so thanks very much. And finally, it's over with the late Pettit players. We've a dressing room full of broken things, but we managed to get it there sometimes. But thankfully today we got the performance out of it. We'll wait a while. We don't get a lot of back outside our own parish, or we're always up against it. So for us it's brilliant to do this today, and for everyone in the club, we're absolutely delighted. So we're finished now, back into the dressing room, back to the centre. Thanks very much.
Okay, folks, for one more presentation to round the match. The man match of the Pettit in the Hurling final is full down to more colour. Okay, thank you.